Best time of year to visit Europe. Do you want to experience the best of Europe but don't know when is the perfect time to visit it? Well, I'm going to give you the answer to your question. Let's get started. But before that, let's have a short trivia about Europe. Did you know that the continent of Europe is the home of more than 400 UNESCO World Heritage Sites? That is the reason why many tourists are eager to see and witness how this beautiful continent left its visitors in awe. A trip to Europe, which spans more than 50 nations, allows you the chance to discover everything from snow-capped mountains to sunny, sandy beaches, as well as historical landmarks and ancient remains. Yet, although one location may be at its liveliest during its low season, with few visitors and not much to do, there is no simple solution to the question of when is the ideal time to travel to Europe. But of course, you may travel to Europe at any time of year as long as you know what to anticipate and where to go. Across the entire European continent at once, the weather is not constant. All year long, southern Europe is much warmer than the northernmost areas. Hence, the best time to visit Europe will depend on your travel plans, your financial situation, and the temperature range that you feel most comfortable with. Europe in January and February. The coldest months of the year in Europe are January and February, with average temperatures ranging from about -5 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius or 20 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This indicates that you should prepare for strong winds, snow, rain, or sleet in many locations. A particularly nasty snow or rain combination that chills you to the bone and soaks you at the same time. At this time of year, even the generally milder Mediterranean region will be chilly and rainy. Europe in March. March has weather that falls between winter and spring. This is a terrific season to travel to many parts of Europe if you're not searching for beaches and warm weather. In Northern Europe, you can now experience the sunny winter with more daylight and tolerable temperatures. The greatest time to see the Northern Lights is around March. Most ski resorts in Europe are likewise at their busiest at this time, and the weather is typically already extremely favorable for sightseeing in southern Europe. Europe in April and May. In Europe, spring eventually begins to come in April or May, and the weather begins to warm up. Rainfall can be extremely heavy in April, gradually decreasing as May approaches. April sees a large increase in visitors due to the better weather and Easter vacations. Avoid traveling to popular European locations during Easter, if at all possible. The transition of cruise ships from the Caribbean to the Mediterranean begins in the spring. Coastal destinations typically experience increases in tourist numbers on the days that the cruise ships arrive starting in April. During this period, cruises in the Baltic and Scandinavian regions also start to run, even though the number of travelers to these places are still quite low. Just a tip. The cruise ship is available online for many locations. Hence, if you prepare ahead, you can schedule your trip such that you avoid the busiest days. In many regions of Europe, the weather warms up and the days lengthen by May. You might even get to experience summer weather if you're lucky. One of the best times to travel to Europe is in May, when you can take advantage of the milder weather and lower rates of the off-season. Having said that, May can already be rather hectic. Large cities are most affected by this during Labor Day celebration on May 1, Ascension Day, and Pentecost. At those times, many countries observe public holidays, so many take a few additional days off and arrange weekend getaways. The most common season for European city vacations might be these months. Europe in June and September. If you want to experience all the benefits of summer without the enormous crowds, June and September are the best months to travel to Europe. The first half of June and the second half of September are the ideal times to visit pretty much anywhere in Europe. Some of the larger cities and tourist destinations start to get crowded in June and continue to be busy until mid-September. Yet, if you venture off the usual path a little, you'll discover that other places are still very calm. This is something that's good to know. In the majority of European nations, summer vacation doesn't begin until July. Children return to school in some nations by the middle of August, whereas in others, it's the first week of September. In other locations, universities don't actually begin classes until the last week of September. Europe in July and August. In Europe, July and August are the busiest months for travel. These are the hottest months, and in many places, it can be as hot as 30 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the ideal season to travel to Europe. If you want to go hiking in the mountains or to the beaches, also, now is the ideal time to visit the northern nations. The sun is at its highest in July and August, and the weather is often warm and sunny. However, being in Europe, rain is still a possibility in some areas. Mountains may even experience snowfall. While still busy, the beginning of July and the end of August are a little quieter. In Europe, mid to July to mid-August is the most popular travel period. The optimum period for sporting events, outdoor festivals, and all types of cultural activities across the continent is during the summer. While it might be a good time to go if these activities interest you, it might be best to stay away from certain dates if you won't be there for the festivities. Finding out whether there are any special events taking place before making travel arrangements is always a smart idea. Travel in Europe slows down in October, yet especially in countries in southern Europe, the weather frequently remains rather pleasant. Early to mid-October still offers a chance for a few mild, sunny days in Western Europe. Everywhere in Europe, the first half of October is often a really good time to go. Prices are lower, there is far less activity than in September, and the weather is still favorable in many areas. In the south, the weather typically stays pleasant and warm all month long, even at the start of November. Winter has typically not yet come in the north. Following that, the weather can be rather erratic, with the possibility of significant amounts of rain and autumnal storms in several locations. The number of visitors is declining, and November is one of Europe's lowest months. If you're willing to bundle up and face the rain, now is a wonderful time to visit Europe because of the lower costs for travel, lodging, and attraction tickets. The month of December is divided into two parts. Very few people travel during the first half of December, which is extremely peaceful. The second half, when the school year's break begins, is much busier. Many people in Europe travel to the mountains in pursuit of a white Christmas, while others travel to the Spanish islands in search of some winter sun. Even people who spend Christmas at home typically travel to cities to shop, see plays or concerts, or visit Christmas markets. In Europe, December is the year's coldest and darkest month. The entire continent is frigid, and some places may see below freezing temperatures. It ranks among the wettest months of the year as well, but December may also be a beautiful month to go to Europe, especially if you want a wonderful holiday vibe. We're now halfway through this video, but before we move on, why not tell us in the comments below from what country you're watching this video? Who knows? You can find someone to travel within Europe. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more travel video updates. Now back to our video. As long as you know what to expect, there is never a poor time to visit Europe. Decide where you want to go after understanding what to anticipate. Many first-time travelers still ponder the ideal time of year to visit Europe. When to go to Europe? The ideal months to travel to Europe are June or September if you want to maximize your time and see multiple different nations in one trip. There are fewer people than in the summer, everything is open, and the weather is pleasant everywhere on the continent. When is the best time to visit European beaches? June to September is the ideal period to explore European beaches, with July and August being the busiest. Visit northern European beach spots at the end of September or the start of October to avoid crowds and yet enjoy mild weather and warm seas. When is the best time to visit European cities? The spring or the fall are the ideal times to visit European towns. Most of the time, the weather is excellent, but it rarely becomes too hot or crowded for sightseeing. Just make an effort to avoid the Easter weekend and May public holiday weekends. When is the best time to visit Eastern Europe? The best time to visit Eastern Europe is during the warm season, which lasts from May through September and early October. Visit in May to June or September for pleasant weather and fewer tourists. The optimum time to go to southern European nations is during the shoulder seasons, every April through May and September through October. The crowded summer season makes touring difficult because of the extreme heat. When is the best time to travel to nations in Northern Europe and Scandinavia? The best time is during the summer, between June and mid-September. You can make the most of your trip because the weather is perfect. Everything is open and the days are long. What about hiking in Europe? Summer is the ideal season for mountain hiking. Most hiking paths are accessible from June to September. The trekking season may be a little bit shorter at higher elevations and a little bit longer at lower altitudes. Go trekking in Europe during the winter on the Portuguese island of Madeira. Skiing, anyone? The months of January through March are ideal for skiing in Europe. Try to avoid the first week of January, all of February, and the first week of March if you can. During that time, many European countries have school breaks, making it the busiest ski season. So, what do you think of the best times to visit to Europe? Tell us in the comments below. Please like and click that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with your travel buddies. Till next time, safe travels.